New Dan Bins. It's me, Skinley, and I am a professional video gamer and voice actor from Scotland. And I've been playing video games for around over 25 years now. So today we're actually going to be going over Obsidian Entertainment's Avowed. Now what we're going to be doing in these, I'm going to be doing full 100% reviews because these are all the games that I've played this year. And I've fully 100% completed. Like, I've completed the story, gotten all the achievements, tried to get as many of the secrets and Easter eggs as I can. And I'm going to give my full review on this because I have worked in the gaming industry for a little while, and so I do know what's going on behind the closed doors. And like I said, I have played video games professionally, and I've played video games for over 25 years at this point. So how we're going to do this is we're going to be breaking down the games into 10 separate categories, and they are going to be the first one is going to be how the game looks. So looks, graphics, aesthetic, that kind of thing. So the reason I've broken it up into kind of these three kind of small categories of like looks and graphics and aesthetic is because I feel like not every game has to be like 4K or 8K and be the most fluid graphics for it to look nice and appealing. There are games that do it really well with 8-bit. There are games that do it really well with like PlayStation era graphics, like very polygonal. It just depends. So it doesn't necessarily have to be automatically like, oh, this game's not 4K graphics, so it doesn't get the full 10 marks. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing 10 of these different categories out of 10, so we'll give us a final total score of 100 and how I generally feel about the game. So the first one I said is looks, graphics, aesthetic. The second one is overall game difficulty, like how difficult the game can be. So because most of the games that we're playing, to get 100% of them, you have to play. Usually the games will have difficulty related achievements, so you'll have to play the game multiple times over on different difficulties, or it'll be like you have to complete the game on the hardest difficulty. Like Avowed is one of those games. It has one of those difficulties achievements in it. So we'll be going over how difficult the game actually is on the different settings and just how difficult it is in general. And then the third one is going to be how difficult the achievements are, because that also ties into how difficult the game is overall. We're going to say like how difficult the achievements are on a scale of 1 to 10. If it's 1, super easy to get. 10, incredibly hard to get. But then it's also going to be like my personal feelings mixed in with this of like how I feel about the achievements and how that affects the score. Like if the game's really easy and the achievements are really easy, but the game is phenomenally good, then the achievement difficulty might still get like a 6 or a 7, even though technically they're like a 1 or a 2 to get. So it could change things. Then number 4 is going to be story and world building, so how good they flesh out the characters, how good you can get immersed in the games, etc, etc. And number 5 is characters, or like rivals, or just general fleshing out of the world or of the game itself. And this can be for anything. Like this could be rivals in a racing game, this can be how well they make characters in RPG games, this can be how good the story is in like worlds building games, anything like that. We're going to go with some. Number 6 is going to be overall gameplay, how fluid the game feels, how nice it feels to play, how good the controls are, that sort of thing. Number 7 is going to be replayability. So if the game is, you're able to constantly keep replaying it, like New Game Plus, or like if the story continues, or if there's like a time warp factor in it where you technically are restarting your story, but it's actually like you're going back in time. That like if you can replay the game over and over again, how good that is. Number 8 is going to be one of the big ones, which is value, which is going to be real world value for money. Is it worth it even now? Because some of these games I'll have played way later in their life cycle. So how valuable the game is now that it's been out for a while, or how valuable it was at the time of me playing. Number 9 is going to be just the general feel and the practices of the game. So, like, is there anything that's incorporated in the game that's kind of scummy? Is the things that are incorporated in the game that other games don't do that they really should? Like, specific ways to work menus, that sort of thing. Like, what things I think are genius, or what things that I feel are just like, you shouldn't have added this into a game. This is a waste of time. And then number 10 is bugs and issues. Are there any major, like, big game-breaking bugs? Is there any major issues that are just ruining the game, or making it better in certain games' choices? So let's crack on and get straight into it. Because as you've been seeing, this is some of the gameplay from my wizard story playthrough. that I did of Avowed. Now, I'm going to give you like a quick general feel of the game to begin with, because I want people to be able to come to this video, check out what we're going to be going through if they're interested or not. If they just want a general feel for the game, then, and if they should buy it or not without any spoilers, this is your chance. My general feel of Avowed is really good. It is a very, very good RPG game. It's got some phenomenal voice actors in it. It's got a great story with it. It presented really, really complicated questions. So the story elements of the game have really, really complex questions and really, really kind of big situations of like, what if I pick the wrong situation? It is exceptional for that. So overall, I would say the game is phenomenal. I would highly recommend it. The combat in it is kind of samey after a while, but you can... I think PC players will probably have a better shout than console players will, because PC players will obviously have access to more buttons, so they can use more abilities on a hotbar using numbers rather than a console player can with buttons. You know, there's less options. But overall, yeah, I would say the game is really good. I would recommend you buy it. I would recommend you play through it. It is a phenomenal game. The story is great. The combat's okay. There's different ways you can play the game. You can either play it melee like I do normally do. You can play it as a mage as I did for one of my playthroughs, or you can even play it as a gun wielder. You can run around with a big rifle and shoot people. It's great. It is a wonderful time. There is lots of humor in it. The story building is great. The game overall is really, really good. I would recommend it. Now, for those of you who are still here, and this is your spoiler warning. We're going to be going through some spoiler-heavy stuff for Avowed right now, because we're going to dive right into this. So the first point, looks, graphics, aesthetic, that sort of thing. I would give it an 8 out of 10. I would give 8 out of 10 for looks and graphics overall. The game is polished and really fluid and really great, but there's little bits of it that, obviously because it's set in the Pillars of Eternity universe, there's little bits of it that I'm just like, this was kind of pointless, and it's mainly to do with character creation. Like, the first point that I don't really get is, you can, in the character creation, you can, because obviously your god has like floral and fungal features on your face, there is no option to, like, there's an option to hide it from your face, so you don't have to have them if you don't want to, but there's no helmets in the game. So there's no headpieces, there's no nothing in the game at all. Like, there's nothing for your helmet, there's nothing for your face, nothing like that at all. So why give me the option to hide the facial features of my godlike essence, but then not have helmets for it anyway, so I just have to look at my face the entire time? Like, I don't know, I feel like that was a missed opportunity to not have helmets and things in it, because also that would provide another piece of equipment for some of the set pieces, for some of the armor sets and things, which could have changed things drastically, but that's small nitpicky points at this point. Yeah, general overall feel for looks of this game, it's very pretty, it's a very fluid looking game, it looks very nice from the combat and things, as you're probably seeing here. It's overall, it generally looks and feels quite nice to look at. The menus are nice to look at. They're not too overwhelming. They give you good information. Again, it's set in the Pillars of Eternity universe, so it's clear. It's quite nice. I like it. So, moving on to point number 2, we are going to give game difficulty. So, one of the achievements, I'm going to spoil point 3 in a second, and one of the achievements for this game was to play it on the hardest difficulty, which was Path of the Damned. So play this on the Path of the Damned difficulty. This game is not hard. This game, playing it even on Path of the Damned as my melee character, as you can see from the footage, I'm not really struggling. I'm not really in any danger, and I'm eating hits. Like, I'm not, because I play tank characters. I don't play mages or ranged people. I get in the fray of the fight. There were a few times where I got caught out and there was big fights and I overextended and I really needed to kill myself, like panic heal myself and what have you, but generally, even on Path of the Damned, this game is not hard, but it's still fun. It's like, the problem I have, like, to bring up a point for like Skyrim or like Oblivion, they are the prime examples of what I would not do in a video game. They don't add difficulty with the like difficulty scaler. There's nothing new. It just adds more and more health and more damage to your enemies. That's all it does. This feels kind of the same, but it never gets to a point where I felt like I was just wasting so much. Like, I was never in any danger of dying, but I was just wailing on like a second health. That's all I was doing. Like, at no point did I ever come to that point. It was getting there with some of the enemies, but it was never that bad. So for Path of the Damned, not that tricky, so that achievement isn't actually that hard. For overall like gameplay of this game with those set difficulties, I would give this like a 7. Like a 7 out of 10. It's still fun to play. It's a fun challenge. Like, it is tricky and you have to pay attention to the game and you have to pay attention to your builds and what have you. But no, for this, I would give that a 7 out of 10. It is not insanely hard. It's tricky and it's a good challenge, but it is not the be-all and end-all. You know what I mean? Now, moving on to point 3 for the achievement difficulty. Now, my main gripe with this one is that when the game was released and when I played it, there were 2 achievements that were a pain in the backside because they were tied to certain quests. And if you play this normally, like, I don't play the games with guides to begin with. Like, I play it through how I would play through it to begin with. And like, some of the achievements are tied to, like, you have to finish every quest in the game, which is one of the achievements. Pentiment is one of the achievements, to complete every side quest in the game. But they started with the game where, like, the finer things in battle quest sometimes wouldn't proc, like, it wouldn't appear if you're too quick through the game. And then there's another quest, I think it's called a Debt of Blood. It's where when you make one of the choices in the game where you either choose, and like, you're never even directly given this choice. It's where you have to, if you go through the waterfall, and I think the Emerald Stair, if you go through the waterfall cave and defeat the steel garrote that are in there, that means that you will save one of the towns in the game. You'll save it and stop it from being sacked. Whereas if you don't do that, you won't save it, and those are your 2 options. You're never actually, like, really directly told that affects anything. Now, if you chose to save it like I did, because I play every game as like a paladin and goody two-shoes, then you want to save every one possible. So, of course I went and saved it. And then only when I got to the end of the game, I'm like, wait, how do I not have all the achievements yet? But it's because if you chose to save it, you will skip the mission Debt of Blood, because Debt of Blood only appears if one of the major towns in the Emerald Stair gets destroyed. Which, it's like, okay, so I've missed an achievement by accidentally choosing to do the right thing, like, if that makes sense. So that's kind of a gripe that I had with some of the Avowed achievements. And then the other ones is obviously the difficult ones for the achievements is become a member of the Steel Garrote, which is you have to basically just be an asshole. It's play through it as an evil character, essentially. So you have to play the game at least twice to get this achievement. And then the other one that was a pain in the backside is cook every recipe at your party camp. Now, the main issue with this sounds simple. It is a simple achievement to just cook everything at your camp. And it should be fairly straightforward. The problem with it is if you play through the entire game and you like what I did, you accidentally use some of the food to heal yourself and give yourself buffs, which the game tells you to do, none of the world spawns of, like, herbs or flowers or things that you use for cooking, none of them respawn. So if you pick, what I did is when you pick too many of, like, an ingredient and you use it to make food and then eat it, that's it, gone. For the whole game, like, it never comes back. So if you're missing, like, 1 or 2 of these to make every recipe in the entire game, that you've screwed yourself out of that achievement. Which, in my opinion, is, as an achievement hunter, is infuriating. So for that, I think for the achievement difficulty, I mean, it's going to lower it a lot because of the buggy achievements and the fact that, like, you can screw yourself out of so many achievements. I think I'm just going to give this a 5. Like a 5 out of 10. It's not great because there's so many things that can go wrong and it's such a pain in the backside to get to the end of the game and then realize, oh, I've locked myself out of this one achievement to do every quest in the game, and I've locked myself, so I have to play through the entire game again and do every other quest again. And then I also screwed myself out of making every piece of food in the game because none of the, like, world spawns respawn, which is insane to me. And then you also have to play the game again to get like another achievement. So yeah, it's not great. The achievement difficulty is like, it's a 5 out of 10 because there's unnecessarily difficult things and unnecessarily messy achievements in this that kind of bring it down. Now, point number 4 for world building and story. Straight away, I'm giving this a 9 out of 10. The story and the world building is phenomenal in Avowed. Avowed is so much fun. The story is great. The fact that it's in the Pillars of Eternity universe is fantastic because I love the PoE games. I played them for a long time. The story in Avowed is great. The story presentation right at the start, telling you that you're a godlike and people are frightened of you, is great. And then constantly being reminded of that through the game, where people are kind of like, whoa, what's wrong with your face, kind of thing. Like, it's really reinforces that point. It's great. And then having Kai and Marius and Gianna and all your companions and what have you with you through the journey, and they have their own kind of quips and their own kind of personalities. It's phenomenal. It's so much fun. The story is great. The fact that you can actually play through as like a friend of the Steel Garrote, or as like you're trying to really help the people, and then the fact that there's so many times like that this game presents you with really difficult decisions. At first I thought it was going to be like Fallout 3, where there's like no real consequence to whatever choice you make. Avowed really kind of drives home that neither of these are really good options. Neither of them are really bad options, but neither of them are really great either, and either way is going to kind of screw this up. Me and my wife played through this game together at the same time, and when we got to these big story points, it was so good at reinforcing these points that me and my wife had to stop and discuss it for like 20 minutes and be like, but what if this happens, da-da-da, and spitball ideas back and forth off each other and be like, okay, so if we do this and it affects these people, how could it, like, the world building for this game is incredible. It is phenomenal. Obsidian did an exceptional job with the world building and the storytelling and how this works. The only minor flaw, again, that I have with this ties in with the achievement ones, where like your herbs and things don't respawn in the world, which I'm like, that is insane, but okay, that was a choice that you made, fair. But for the world building and the aesthetic of the world, and the fact that Sapadal is like the hidden god of this world, and that's why things are starting to go crazy, and how it's pulled into the story, and you gradually kind of learn that more and more, that it's Sapadal's fault that this Dream Scourge is happening. Amazing storytelling. It's really good. I was hooked from the second we started. I was all in on this game, and I loved every second of it. It was amazing. A 9 out of 10. The only things that bring it down are obviously like the world building that kind of ruins the immersion a little bit. Is the combat is very kind of samey, and I feel like when you're searching for things in the world, again, like once the herbs and that are gone, it just kind of feels like once you've all cleared all the enemies, because all the enemies don't respawn either, is the world just feels kind of barren. It feels like there's nothing there. Like after you've done everything, it's like, huh, okay, I guess I'm just kind of done here. Like nothing, I don't really need to do anything, which is kind of a detriment to it, but it's still a phenomenal story, still a huge world that's built into it. The map sizes are great. There's loads of secrets and things that are crammed into everything, every book, every note, like little secrets you can find, treasure maps. It's so good. I can't believe about it more. Now, for characters, because I mentioned Marius, I mentioned Kai. For characters, I'm going to give them like a 6. I think I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. So you, as the main character, like, again, you can choose to be a complete asshole to people, or you can be really, really nice. I love that about Obsidian games, because they give you those options. It's really, really good. The freedom is really great, and I love it. The characters, though, like Kai and Marius and Giata, they all feel very flat, in my opinion. I don't, like, even playing through on my 100% playthrough as my melee character, which was like my first playthrough, I never really felt all that invested in them all that much. Like, I love Kai to bits. Kai and Giata were definitely my favorite characters. But, like, I just never felt all that invested in them. Like, I understand that Kai had this really horrible thing happen in his past with his captain and what have you. And then Marius had to escape from Solus Keep because of, like, his childhood was his rough upbringing. He was his clan was murdered by this psychopath cult leader. And then Giata, obviously, her parents were killed by Sapadal because of the wand or the staff that she used. It's just, I never really felt invested in them. Like, I love them as characters and they were getting there. Like, I was really starting to get involved with them by the end of the game. But, like, by the end of the game, that's a bit too late because, like, obviously, like, we finished the game. Like, I don't know. It just felt, I didn't feel involved enough. Now, I'm not sure if that's to do with the writing of the characters or just, I don't know, I never really felt, like, attached to them at all. I also, probably because my first playthrough was on Path of the Damned, and your AI companions on Path of the Damned are garbage. They may as well not be there. They don't help you at all. Because Kai's, like, their damage is so little, they might as well not be there. They don't even act as, like, bullet sponges most of the time to take any damage for you on, like, the hardest difficulty. So, like, a lot of the time I just found myself like, oh look, Kai's downed, oh look, Jata's downed, alright, I'm just gonna leave them because nothing matters. Like, what I would do is I would wait till both of them got downed and then I was about half health, and then I would use the, like, heal me and revive my companion abilities, because at that point I'm just like, I'm not gonna waste time, like, running over to you, holding a button to try and revive you, only for you to get downed immediately again. Because, like, you have no health, you don't do any damage, like, you literally might as well not be here. But because you don't have the option to basically be like, I don't want to play with my characters, I want to play on my own. Like, I don't want to play with these companions because they're rubbish or you don't like a certain one or whatever. The fact that you don't have that option, it just kind of wasn't happy about it. So, yeah, I'm going to stick with giving them a 6 out of 10 for the companions. For gameplay, number 6. Overall gameplay, I think for overall gameplay, I would give this an 8 out of 10. It was solid. It was good fun. There was only a couple of times where I was kind of frustrated with how the game mechanics work and how, like, the auto-mantling doesn't always auto-mantle in the best location, and then there's sometimes where, like, there's giant invisible walls stopping you going up places, or, like, sometimes you clip through the ground a little bit. It's a little bit sometimes, but overall the combat is really fluid. It's great fun to either be a mage, to either be a melee character. Obsidian did an incredible job with, like, the magic spells and things. Being a wizard in this game actually feels super rewarding, whereas, like, a lot of games don't really do spellcasters all that well. Ranged is really good in this because you have the option of being, like, a bow, like a quick bow user, or like a heavy, like, rifle user. Like, I used a pistol in my melee build because I hit hard with, like, my sword and shield and could block it, and then if I quickly needed to, like, draw my pistol and shoot somebody at range really quickly, I could. It was great. It was phenomenal. The gameplay for this game is phenomenal. I play in third person a lot because, especially if I play melee characters, as you can probably see from the footage, because I like to see everything that's going on around me in melee combat. Ironically, in Fallout 3 and 4 and what have you, I play in first person because if I'm shooting something, I like to hit what I'm aiming at, because I manually aim. I don't use, like, VATs or anything like that. I manually look at stuff. So if I played, like, an archer in this game, I'd probably be using first person as well, because then I can see things better. But yeah, for the gameplay, no matter what style of gameplay you choose, it is great. It is phenomenal fun. Like, you can see here from, like, all the footage and things, from all the spells I'm throwing around, just whacking people. Like, you melt things with spells if you build it right. And, like, having your wand to throw, like, miniaturized versions of the spells at, plus, like, your dodging aspect is really good as well. It's quick and nimble. Really fluid gameplay. At no point did I ever feel like combat was a chore. Some of the bosses right at the end of the game felt like that, but that's because they had, like, 6 billion health or whatever. But at no point throughout the like main story and all the way through the game was I like, ugh, combat again, ugh, because that's like really bad for your game. But generally from like exploration of the world and combat, everything like that, it was so much fun. The game is great. There are minor hiccups here and there with obviously like clipping through terrain, etc., etc. But that only brings it down a little bit because there's certain games that have those issues, but it's charming. But for this one, not so great. So yeah, we'll give that an 8 out of 10. For replayability, for number 7, I'm gonna give this a 2. Because this you can't really replay this game all that much. Once you finish the story once, then you kind of know what's coming and what's happening. And then because the game comes to like a hard stop once the story ends, there's no New Game Plus, there's no DLCs as of yet. Although even though if there is DLCs or add-ons that they make for the game, I don't see how they're going to incorporate it. It's not going to be a continuation of the story after you stop the Steel Garrow and after you save Sapadal, because once you save Sapadal, you're kind of in, like, you're locked into the end game of the story. There's no, like, more exploring. You go straight to fighting the Steel Garrow, the game ends. Job done. So unless they tweak it where, like, it adds to that, the DLCs add from that, then I could see the replayability going up. But as of right now, once you finish the story and you're done and you've done whatever you want to do and you've done the playthrough you want to do, once you've done that like twice to get all the achievements like I have, there's no real reason to play this again. I mean, unless you obviously really love the game and you really love the aesthetic and the story and what have you. This game, it's very, like, it's a very one and done situation, because again, with nothing respawning in the world, none of the bosses respawn, none of the enemies respawn, none of the like herbs and things respawn. So once you've done an area and you've cleaned it, that's it. There's no more. So yeah, the replayability of this game is very low. So yeah, I'll give this a 2. It's not great. Now, number 8, for value for money. So to preface this, because this is an Obsidian game, this was on Game Pass on Xbox. Now, I will point out right now, I have been an avid Xbox gamer boy for, I want to say, over 15, 20 years at this point. Like, I started with my Xbox 360 back in the day, and I've been using that ever since. So, I am a big fan of Microsoft, and I'm a big fan of Xbox, and I think that the Xbox Game Pass is one of the greatest subscription-based services that there is. The fact that I pay, I think it's like £60-70 a year or something like that. I can't remember. We do the yearly bundle, and I have the yearly family bundle because obviously my wife uses it as well. But the fact that I only pay like £100 a year and I get to use like their catalog of like thousands of games, plus games like this and the Elder Scrolls that are coming out recently that I just get to play for free as soon as they launch, is incredible to me. So the value for money, if you have the Xbox Game Pass, I would say is a 10 out of 10. It's phenomenal because it's essentially free. But if you're actually buying the game, now I think the game at retail sells for £70 or so 70 GBP. So for £70, I would still give it an 8 or a 9 out of 10 for value, because that you get a lot for this game. So I spent a good couple hundred hours in this game. If you're 100% completing this game and you want a long story game that you can get lost into, yeah, I would say like it's worth it. I'm gonna give it a 7 because it's good. The fact that it really falls flat on the replayability kind of brings that value down a little bit, but if you want to get lost in a story for a couple hundred hours playing a good guy and then a couple hundred hours playing a bad guy to get all the 100% things for every achievement, and you really want to get into this, it's great. Yeah, I would say 7 out of 10. It's great. And then number 9, for general feel of the game and like practices done by like Obsidian. So as of yet, there's no microtransactions in this game. There's no loot boxes. It's just the standard world-built RPG game. This phenomenal. The game feels good to play. It's good fun. There's no there's no like negative things that like I can at no point was like oh, I have to go through this to get this part. Like, you know how some games have like water levels where you're like, oh, I can't be bothered to do this part of the game, or oh, I can't be bothered to do whatever, etc., etc. Or like if you're playing a multiplayer game, it has like, oh, here's the transactions, like microtransactions to get this and to get this, and there's none of that in this game. So for general feel and practices, I'm giving this a 9. Like, it's a solid game. There is very little wrong with it that I would say that is a huge detriment to the overall aesthetic and feel of the game. It's a solid game. I would give it a 9 out of 10. And then for the final category, bugs and issues, I'm going to give this 5. It's going to get a low score from me, simply because when I played it around like the first couple of weeks after it came out, well, the first month or so after it came out, there's quite a lot of bugs in it where you could fall through the terrain, you could clip through certain rocks and get stuck. Also the problems with the achievement where you like, they fixed it. I think they fixed it recently, where they updated the achievements to be, you don't actually have to do Debt of Blood to complete all the achievements, all the side quests to get that achievement, which kind of is a little bit of a slap in the face to me, because I had to do it, because when the game first came out, that was not patched. So it's kind of a pain in the backside for that part. And then there's some issues where like items will get stuck, or you'll just miss items and they won't be there, or like things should spawn when they don't. There's particular ones that are tied to like story quest missions where there was I think there's a piece of like quest item that just didn't spawn. It's like when you're supposed to collect the armbands for the yellow bandits, there's a notorious bug where sometimes they just, all 5 of them don't spawn, so you just can't finish that mission because it just bugged out and it didn't spawn. I think they'll eventually address that, but when you play it at the time, it's incredibly infuriating, because you're like, well, I guess I'm just not getting this achievement because the game bugged out. Cool. And then if you do want to go back, you can't, because none of the enemies respawn, so you're out of luck, I'm afraid. So yeah, it's there are a few bugs with it, which I see actively that Obsidian are fixing, which cool, that's good. It shows that they're actively being like proactive with this and they are actually fixing it. But my thing is that really shouldn't have been an issue to begin with. Like, playtesters should have gone through that. It really should have been handled, you know? I mean, I can forgive minor bugs and things like that, but when it ties it to like story things or quest things, then it's like, that should have really been handled better, and that should have been, you know, fixed before launch. So yeah, that's my feelings on this. So we're coming right to the end. Thank you so much again. If you're still here, thank you so much for going through this entire like 30-minute video with me while I just ramble about a game. But if you are here, thank you so much. Consider giving me a follow. Please let me know your comments and how you feel about Avowed. What your experience with it is, because I want to have a discussion about this. And please, like, if you feel differently about this, don't hesitate to obviously politely tell me like your differences in your opinions on things, because I really want to know what your experience is with the game. And yeah, I really appreciate you sticking this far. So overall, the grand total for Avowed is, we are going to give Avowed 66 out of 100. So kind of middle of the road. I'm okay with that. I think I was going to give it about a 70, around the 70 mark, because there was like 65 to 70, because there is a few things that I was irked by in this game that kind of put a bad taste in my mouth, where like I had to play through the game essentially 2.5 times to fix some of the bugs, or to like skip around some of the bugs. And I had to actively go online and ask people like, hey, have you ran into this bug? Has this happened? And loads of people were like, yeah, this locks you out, you have to do this to get around this bug. And it's like, okay, that's a pain. So, but yeah, generally, I would give Avowed 66 out of 100. It's a really good game. Obsidian really did an excellent job with The world building, the combat, the gameplay of this game is fantastic. It just kind of falls flat on the replayability because you can't really play this game again once you've done everything. So it's kind of like, okay, there's not really much to this. But then later on that might change, because if they add DLCs and things, there might be New Game Plus. They might add more. Who knows? But for now, as of when this is released, I'm going to give this a 66 out of 100. So I have been Skinley. Thank you very much for sticking all the way through this video, and I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Bye!